Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. I am super excited. Want to be recording again, but to see where this market is at this point. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, let's get started. But let me say this again. If you could, please like, share, subscribe, guys. We learn and we grow together. Okay, now let's get started. Y'all, the Bitcoin it made a low of 60,000, but y'all see it came down to a place we kind of knew we could possibly have trouble, only to come back up to another area we kind of knew we could possibly have trouble, right? So I like to identify those trouble places and figure out, where that support and resistance is, right? So let's go look at AMD. And yes, I still have yet to clean those charts up, right? But it works for me. So I like to start with a 30-minute chart. Why? Because again, it tells a story. I just like to read. So AMD came down to this 187 here, found support. That's our little gathering spot. We bounced from there only to come back up to this $200.48. Had a little trouble there. Came back down, but as you can see, we're right at that 50 EMA, 20 EMA. That is our support as of now. Again, this video is recorded pre-market. So where are the trouble places for AMD to the upside? Let's say we would need to get back above the $200.48. Should we break that, we could possibly have trouble again, 201.54, and breaking that 202.90. Should we break that, 203.79, 204.89, 206.34. No, 206.36, and breaking that 207.67. However, y'all see there's a few layers of resistance here in this area for AMD. That's at the 209 all the way back up to that 200 EMA at around the 213.46. So if you're trading AMD today, again, those are possible areas of resistance. That's, back to the upside. Now let's look to the downside, right? So breaking this area here of around the 196.09, we could possibly come back to, I'm going to mark this area. Why? Because my eye immediately goes to this gathering spot here. Price was here. Let's see, right in this area here, in this area and this area. So coming back to the downside, should we lose those moving averages here around the 196.12, we could very well come back to 193.82. Breaking that, we do have the ATR trail and stop at the 192.69 and breaking that 190.150. Now breaking that area, which is really under this area, I'm going to say here, 190.65. So let's say we break that 190.66 or 190.65 today for AMD, we could very well come back to the downside and find support around the 189.01. And should we break that level, 187.38, breaking the 187.38 kind of brings us back to this low here of 187, breaking that 185.26, 184.43. There's a few layers down here to the 182.61. So those are possible, again, possible areas of support and resistance for AMD today. Again, not financial advice, right? So we are now looking at Meta. We closed at 670.21. It's interesting that we were at 681.50 only to come down and bounce off of the low here of 647.91. And I'm going to see if I can make that, that 647.91 area, which is here a low. Y'all see it's right there at a place, again, that we have marked as support and resistance, right? So where are the trouble places for Meta? Again, we bounced off of that 647.91 only to come back up and have trouble again at another area that we have marked 673.45. So let's say back to the upside, we would need to get back above that 671.64. We've been having trouble there. That was a resistance area for us. Now breaking that, we could possibly have trouble again, 673.45. We should break that again. That is the area that we needed to break. Breaking that, we still have trouble at that ATR trail and stop 674.39, and breaking that, possibly have trouble again, 675.90. Should we break that area, 677.96 is very close to that 200 EMA around the 679.22 area for Meta. In my opinion, there's a few areas of resistance here. I'm going to see if I can make that visible here. Yes. So in my opinion, there's a few layers of resistance once we break that ATR trail and stop again 675.90. And here again at 677.96, 678.77, and 679.85. Those are a few areas of resistance. Now breaking that brings us back to 679.85, 680.96, and again here at 681.46, breaking that 682.86, and again 683.96. Now should we break that for Meta today, we could possibly have trouble again, 685.28. Now breaking that, the next level I have is around the 688.16, but keep in mind we could very well get stopped out anywhere in this area here. So if you are trading Meta today, those are possible areas of resistance. Now let's look back to the downside. If we should break back under the 665.79, we have around the 664.39, 662.82, 661.29, and breaking that 659.89, which is this area here. Now should we break that, y'all, we can come back to the 657.64. Again, not financial advice. Now breaking that 657.64, we have 655.22, and should we break that 654.04. Now breaking that, y'all see there's a few layers of support here, and we have found those, right? So under this 653.01, the next level I have is the 651.55, and should we break that, the 650.02 area is a support area for Meta today. Now breaking that 650.02 area, we could very well come back and retest the 648.31. So if you're trading Meta today, I say it so often, y'all, those are areas of support and resistance. Again, not financial advice. Trade carefully, mark your levels. Once it goes against your why or your reason for getting in the trade, get out, right? So let's look at Netflix. Netflix is interesting. Let's say that, right? So we closed at $80.87. It looks as if we were at that 83.30, came down, found support here at this 80 level here. So I'm going to mark that. Now, with Netflix, it just trades interesting. Right now we're trading in a gathering spot. So I'm going to mark some levels here for Netflix. I like to look at the body of the candles. Why? Because that tells me, yeah, I need to pay attention to that. So this is the zone that we were trading in. So where are the trouble places? We would need to break back again above that 81.10. Should we break that, we can use that 200 EMA, or we could use, let's say, this area here around the 181.43, which is really, really close. And y'all see how that 200 EMA is right there at a level that I kind of would have marked anyway because of this candle and this candle and this candle. So yeah, if you're not using the moving averages, you could also just use your, labeling your support and your resistance. Okay, helpful tip, trading chart tip, right? So where are the trouble places for Netflix? Again, breaking above 81.41. We could possibly have trouble 81.89. Should we break that 81.89? Possibly 82.44. And should we break that 82.97? And should we break that for Netflix? Possibly again 83.31. Those are possible areas of resistance for Netflix. Now back to the downside. Let's say we break under this $80.63. Keep in mind, we were up here, and now we're still back in that area. So under $80.63, y'all, we could very well come back to the $80.31 and breaking that. Y'all see the $80 even, and then in between that we have ATR trail and stop. So we have a few support areas right here at this $80 range for Netflix. So if that is something that you trade, I say it so often, y'all, trade carefully, mark your levels. Once it goes against your reason for getting in the trade, get out, right? So live to trade another day, right? So we are now looking at NVIDIA. We closed at 170.188. Y'all see how we've come down off of this 170 again, right at an area we kind of knew we could possibly have trouble. We bounced from there back to the upside. Yes, back to the upside. So the trouble places as of right now, 177.99, 178.25. That 200 EMA is right there. I'm going to see if I can make that a little bit bit bigger so that we can see that. That 200 EMA is really close to an area that I have marked around the 178.58. So that 178.62 is our 200 EMA as of now for NVIDIA. Breaking that, we could possibly have trouble 178.86, 179.16, 179.35, again at 179.51 and 179.74. Those are possible areas of resistance for NVIDIA. Now let's look back to the downside. Let's see if I can make this a little bit clearer. NVIDIA, SPY, and Tesla is going to be the charts are going to be a little bit congested. Let's say that, right? Just disclaimer. And again, it works for me to know where my trouble places are, right? So with trading, it's what works best for you and for you to identify what works best for you, right? So let's say we break under this level here, 176.60. We have the next level, 176.38. Breaking that 176.16. Should we break that level, 175.88, and breaking that for NVIDIA today, 175.47. Now, should we break that, 175.22? Keep in mind, we were having trouble here in this area here. So should we break that, y'all see how close it is to that 175.16, which is our 20 EMA as of now. However, breaking that, we could very well come back to the 174.92 under that 174.68. And do you see again, 174.52 is right close to that 50 EMA at the 174.49. I love to see that, right? So should we break that 174.49 area for, NVIDIA today, possibly 174.18, again, 173.63, 173.14. Those are possible areas of support and resistance for NVIDIA. Again, I say mark your levels, and once it goes against your why or your reason for getting in the trade, get out, right? So we are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 677.62, and y'all see we kind of hit this nice little hammer right here. Came down, bounced off of that 670.92. The level I had marked was 671.23. We broke through that only to come close to the next level that I had, which was around the 670.66, right? So where are the trouble places for the SPY as of right now? I just like to see it come back to the levels that I have marked, right? So back to the upside. Again, we need to get back above this ATR trail and stop, which is around the 682.12. Y'all see it here. We were having trouble there. So that's an area of resistance for us. Breaking that for the SPY, 682.73, 683.23, 683.75, 684.47. Y'all see that 200 EMA is at the 685.21. Let's see what I have marked. 685.21, exactly at the place that I have marked. I love to see that support and resistance, right? So breaking that 685.21 for the SPY today, possibly have trouble again, 685.58. And should we break that, 685.76, breaking that 685.88, and again here at 686.08. So those are possible areas of resistance for the SPY. Let's look back to the downside. So I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit bigger for us. Now, back to the downside. Let's say we break under 681.35. The next level I have 680.37. Again, 679.95. There's a few layers of support here for the SPY. 50 EMA, 20 EMA, and a few lines that I have here at 679.23. So breaking this area, in my opinion, means we've broken through a strong area of support. However, breaking that, possibly 678.47, again here at 678, and should we break that, 676.99. Breaking that brings us kind of close to that ATR trail and stop, which is here around the 676.47 or the 676.46. Now breaking that brings us back to the 675.89. And should we break that, something held us up at that 675.14. Now breaking that for the SPY, 674.38. So if you're trading the SPY today, I say it so often, y'all trade carefully. Why? Because in this market, anything is possible. possible, right? So we are now looking at Tesla. Tesla closed at 397.21. We bounced off of this 387, y'all. We hit this 387 twice yesterday, and that was interesting for us to go up, get rejected at the end of market 401, in this area here, only to come back down, or after market here, 401 is the high of this candle. Yes, 401.18, only to come back down to the 387.53. We bounced from there. So y'all see, we're back at an area here that 406.57, closed at 397, only to make a high pre-market of 406. Today will be an interesting day, right? So back to the upside, 406.57, breaking that, 407.89. Y'all see the 200 EMA, again, it's right at a level we have marked, 410.01, breaking that for Tesla today, 411.43. Should we break that, 413.75, and breaking that, 414.99, breaking that 414.99 for Tesla today, 416.56, and there's a few layers here up to the 417.54. So in my opinion, this could be a strong area of resistance for Tesla, again at the 416.56 up to the 417.54. Now breaking that, 418.62, and again for 1971. Those are possible areas of resistance. Again, not financial advice. Now back to the downside for Tesla, under this level of $400.56. There's a few layers of support here. So we're going to say under the moving averages here, and 398.09. Should we break that area, 396.66, and breaking that, I have 394.96, which is close to that ATR trailing stop as of now, 395.46. Breaking that, we have 394.18, again 392.73, 391.34, 390.42, 389.62, 389.67, 389.01, and again here at 387.75. Now what will be interesting, if we break that 387.53 area, we could very well come back to 384.91, 383.39. And breaking that, we could very well come back to 379.19. So those are possible areas of support and resistance for Tesla. I say it so often, this is not financial advice. In this market, anything is possible. Mark your levels and make sure you have a reason for getting in the trade. Once it goes against your why, get out. So I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very, very productive day today. Again, if you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Y'all are just like, share, and subscribe, right? So we learn and we grow together. So until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.